Recently, a trailer came out announcing the upcoming remake of 13, a 2003 first-person shooter with cel-shaded graphics developed and published by French studio and publisher Ubisoft. Now, this remake is developed by Playmagic and is published by French developer and publisher Microids, who put out Siberia, one of my favorite adventure games, and it's like one of the most European things ever. And this remake is feeling like about the most French thing ever, because it has really, really strong aesthetics, and also kind of a nihilistic sense that they're doing this anyway despite there not being a real point. Judging by the trailer, 13 Remake is going to be a very, very pretty game, but one of the reasons why 13 has developed such a cult following, especially in recent years, is this sense that the game's visual style has helped it age gracefully. And that kind of makes me wonder why a graphical remake is really necessary. And also, having looked at the trailer, it kind of undermines some things that I found really compelling about the original style. The remake looks like it's more airbrush than ink pen. The inclusion of some new graphical effects is impressive. The lighting is more modern, textures look richer and less flat, but also there was a certain starkness to the original aesthetic that I feel like is being lost in large part. The cel shading looks more like the way it does in Postal 4 than it does in the original 13, and the game doesn't look as much like a comic book as it used to. That said, it's still pretty looking. But artistically, or at least aesthetically, it seems to lose sight of what the original appeal was. That's not to say that there aren't things to improve on. 13 was a good game, it's not a great one. And they do have the opportunity at this point to fix some things that are very, very broken about the original. 13 has an infuriating checkpoint system. It doesn't work very well. Checkpoints are spaced too far apart, and sometimes at totally irrational points. I just recently, upon replaying part of this game, found myself failing a mission because a secret meeting had been canceled, despite the fact that the secret mission had just finished taking place.
How has the secret meeting been canceled? It just happened! How did the secret meeting get canceled? No! No, that should have worked! That should have worked!
And 13 is kind of full of these kinds of things, and unskippable scripted events. And checkpoints usually are not placed at the conclusion of a scripted event, they're placed before. So there's a lot of waiting for things to unfold over and over again as the game will unfairly fail you in its objectives. These are things that can all be improved in the follow-up, and you don't even have to change the actual missions of the game. You can just place the checkpoints better and more frequently. That would be an easy fix. That said, additional things would be really cool. Seeing ragdoll physics brought to the game is pretty neat. I'm actually not opposed to the inclusion of iron sights that I seem to be seeing in this remake. And also little things like the way that the grappling hook looks in this remake is really, really cool. It looks less laughable in its animation than the original does. Mostly, my biggest concern has to do with the sound. 13 did not have a perfect voice cast, but it did have quite a star-studded one. And also Adam West.
No one can stop me from conducting my own investigation. You hear me, Amos?
You can't replace Adam West, and I really hope they don't re-record the dialogue. If I'm just going by what appears in the trailer, it sounds like they're gonna use the same recordings. Just listen to David Duchovny right here. This is him in the original game.
I've fallen into my own trap.
This is him in the trailer.
I've fallen into my own trap.
This is him in the original game and the trailer at the same time.
I've fallen into my own trap.
So if the trailer is anything to go by, I think they're using the same set of voice recordings. I don't think they're gonna replace Adam West, and that would be a fucking crime against art if they did. You can't just do Batman like that. You don't. I love him. Don't do that. They do have the chance to fix some things that were broken about the original game and improve it overall. I'm not quite on board with all of the changes that they're making stylistically. I don't think that everything that they're enhancing the game with is actually an improvement. But at the same time, taken in a vacuum, ignoring what the original game looks like, it's looking like a pretty looking game. It just doesn't look like 13 did. And it doesn't look like an improvement on what 13 was, necessarily. It looks more technologically sophisticated, it just doesn't look artistically better in every single thing that it's doing. I would still appreciate it, I'd still study it and find it fascinating, I'm sure. But I just don't consider it better by default. Technology isn't quite everything. It's interesting to see that this is not being published by Ubisoft. I'm wondering what's happened there. But whatever. 13 was a very, very original game. It looks like they've even changed the cover art for the game. They have some new original artwork for... Oh, son of a bitch! Okay, never mind, it's not original at all. It was Sam Fisher all along. I thought Ubisoft was gone from all this. Maybe they don't even know. Who knows? Who cares? Eh?